Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, and the reason for this remake is because if you did watch that original DIY all the time Lilo and Stitch costume, you know the audio was pretty bad, but I was working with a cheap mic at the time and I just had to work with what I had. But I finally bought a new mic and I decided why not just go back and remake it. And the great thing about this is I'm adding the measurements that I didn't have in the first video, so now I'm actually adding additional information and answering a few questions as well. Alright, so let's get started. You're going to need 2 yards of fleece, a crop top, elastic, in 2 sizes actually, a thick one for your waist and a thinner elastic for your anklets and bracelets, a template. I went ahead and made my own, which measures 14 inches in length and the widest point in the width is 6 inches. You'll also need some scissors, a white crayon or chalk, and a headband. So we're going to start with the big leaves first, and to do so you have to cut your fleece a little bit. It'll still be the 2 yards in length, but the width will be a total of 28 inches, and when you fold it in half it will be 14 inches in width. So again, after you fold it in half, you see the little flap here, and then you see how it's just folded on the other end. Again, 28 inches in total, but once it's folded it'll be 14. Then you're going to grab your leaf template, and the stick part, if you will, is what's going to be at the fold of your fleece. Next, you're just going to start tracing all of your leaves. And the great thing about this DIY, it's pretty repetitive. All you're going to do is just trace your leaves, and then after you trace them, you're going to cut them out and then tie them onto your elastic, and that's all you're basically going to do for all of your anklets, bracelets, the headband, and even for the skirt. So again, all you're going to do is just place your template down on the fleece. You want that stick part, if you will, on the fold, and then you're just going to trace them and then cut them as you go. And for my measurements exactly, I'm using 25 leaves on the waist. So here is the first leaf, and this is basically why you want that stick part to be at the fold, just so that both of the leaves are attached to one another. Alright, so I went ahead and skipped making the rest of them just because, like I said, it is pretty repetitive. You're just going to do the same thing over and over again. So next we are going to start working on the small leaves. So to do so, again, it is the 2 yards in length, but now the measurements for these small leaves is 5 inches in total, but when you fold your fleece it'll be 2.5 inches at the fold. Then you're going to do the same exact thing as you did before. Once you place your leaf down onto the fleece, make sure the stick part is at the fold so that your leaves are attached after you cut them. And the measurements for the small leaves are 3.5 inches in length, and then the widest point on the small leaves is 1.5 inches. And then one little tip when cutting out your leaves, one thing to do is kind of cut inside of the white crayon. If not, you're going to have a bunch of white marks all over your leaves. And then one thing I might add is I use 15 leaves per each bracelet and anklet, and I even ended up using 15 leaves for the headband as well if you want to just keep count as to how many you need or you want to make. So once I finished cutting everything, I was left with 25 big leaves. And I cut about 100 small ones too. And again, I'm not going to use them all. I just used 15 per each bracelet and anklet, and an additional 15 for the headband too. Alright, so finally after all that cutting, we're going to go ahead and start with the waist elastic. So what you want to do with that elastic is just measure it around your waist, adding an additional inch or two just so that you have enough to kind of double knot it a few times, just to make sure that it's really tight and it's not going to untie. So once you have double knotted, you're just going to pull it in each direction just to tighten it and secure it. And then next, you're just going to take that big stack of leaves there, and you're just going to start tying your leaves onto the elastic. So the way I found it easiest to do it is just to basically open the leaf and place the elastic right in the center of your leaf. So once you have that leaf centered in the middle of your elastic, you're just going to tie a knot. Personally, I'm just going to tie one because after I saw the first knot, it just looks secure enough to hold for me. But if you want, you can double knot it. So this is what the leaf looks like with just one knot. And then this following leaf here, I am going to double knot it just to show you that, you know, it isn't a big difference in the size of the knot if you do want to go ahead and double knot it. And that's what it looks like with two knots. It really isn't a big difference in size if that's probably what you're worried about. But like I said, one knot just seems secure enough for me. But if you want two, just to make sure one doesn't fall off as you're wearing it, just go ahead and double knot it. I just thought I just had so much of the same repetitive steps, I didn't have time to just double knot it when I thought one was enough. So once you have tied down your leaves onto your elastic, you have completed your hula skirt. And I'm just going to go back and kind of separate them all just so that there is an even space. So when I do wear the skirt, you can't see my shorts through the actual leaves. One tip I am going to go ahead and add is that once I added the leaves onto the elastic, when I tried on the hula skirt, the weight of the leaves did stretch the elastic a little bit. So I had to go back and just cut off a few inches of the elastic and just tie it up again. So again, if you try on your skirt and the weight of the leaves stretched it out a little bit, don't be afraid to go back and just cut an inch or two and then just measure to your waist again. Alright, so next we are going to make the anklets and the bracelets. What you want to do with the thinner elastic is just measure it around your ankles and your wrists, and then just cut it to size and tie it. And one thing someone did ask in the previous video, which I thought was a great idea, is if they can use hair ties. And yeah, you can. It's just the ones I have were just pretty tight around my ankles and my wrists, so I didn't want to just wear those all night and just kind of get that like imprint of the hair tie. I'm just going to open the leaf, center it down in the center of the elastic, and then you're just going to tie it. And again, I'm just doing one knot. You can do two if you like. And then you're just going to repeat this step for both your bracelets, both your anklets, And as mentioned before, I am just using 15 leaves on each one. I know 15 does seem like a lot on this little bracelet, but once you wear it, it does stretch, so the 15 did fit perfectly around my wrists. And now we have completed the anklets and the bracelets. Lastly is the headband. But if you don't want to buy a headband and you want to use the elastic as well, by all means you can do that. One less thing you have to buy. So to use the elastic, you're just going to basically just measure it around your head and just double knot it as you did for the elastics and the waistband. Then you're just going to do as we've been doing. Like I said, this is a very repetitive DIY. Is just open the leaf, center it, and just tie it down. One knot or two to your preference. It's completely up to you. And now the headband is complete. Alright, so now the last piece to your costume is done. Just go grab Stitch and go get some candy. So I just want to say thank you for watching. I hope the audio on this video came out so much better. And thank you for watching once again, and please subscribe.